Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today we're tackling a figure who, well, really tries to define political moderation. We're diving deep into the sources from his book Dead Center.
Right.
Our mission basically is to map the chronological journey. How did West Virginia common sense turn into national political action?
Yeah, and we're looking for those fundamental lessons. Some are personal, some actually pretty funny, that shaped his whole approach to leadership.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, as you said, is we're not really tracking policy positions per se.
No, not the headlines. We're tracking principles. The author puts his politics pretty simply. Put people first and country before party. Be fiscally responsible and socially compassionate.
So the task is finding the roots of that dead center commitment. And that starts way back, not in D.C., but in Farmington, West Virginia, a small coal town.
Right, 1947. This is where those core values really get instilled by his family, especially the grandparents.
And they didn't just talk about values, did they? They had these specific, sometimes kind of amusing rules of the road.
Oh, yeah. The main lesson seemed to be the dignity of work. Papa Joe, who ran the grocery store, his rule was legendary.
The $5 loan thing.
Exactly. Someone asks to borrow $5. Papa Joe says, sure, but here's a broom and a shovel. Go out and clean up the parking lot and come back. I'll have your $5 for you.
That classic hand up, not a handout idea.
Right. And the author notes something interesting Papa Joe observed.
What's that?
That only about half the people who ask take me up on it.
Huh. So that willingness to do the work, that distinction, it seems foundational.
Totally. Then there was Mama Kay, the matriarch. She taught accountability, but also this, radical compassion.
Our house rules sound pretty strict. No cussing, no drinking, everyone does chores.
Non-negotiable. Which leads to that amazing story about Deloitte.
Oh, yeah, the visitor who thought there were snakes. And they swept them.
Yeah, swept imaginary snakes. Deloitte was convinced they were there. Instead of arguing, the father just hands the author a broom, tells him to start sweeping.
Wow. So they helped him feel safe.
Exactly. And the guy ends up staying in the basement for weeks, doing odd jobs to earn his keep. It's that dual thing. Kindness, yes, but you still got to contribute.
It's practical compassion, maybe. So these grassroots values get layered pretty quickly with an early taste of politics. Retail politics, West Virginia style.
Right, 1960. He's 13, just minding his own business on his go-kart.
And gets pulled away to meet guests. Pretty high-powered guests, sitting in the kitchen eating spaghetti. Ted Kennedy.
Ted Muller's, yeah. With his uncle Jimmy A. James Manchin.
Who was apparently quite the character, a force of nature, elected young.
Elected to the House of Delegates at 21, yeah. And the big discussion in the kitchen was critical. How could JFK, a Catholic, possibly win Protestant West Virginia?
And Uncle Jimmy's promise.
He guaranteed it. Said he'd campaign personally, face-to-face, bridge that gap.
So that's the early lesson, right? Politics isn't abstract policy. It's connecting with people, one-on-one. Very grounded.
Very grounded, though not every youthful experience was quite so politically instructive.
Laughing slightly. You mean the car incident, the 10-year-old driving lesson gone wrong?
That's the one. Driving towards the garage apartment, little brother Johnny taunting him, you can't do it.
And in that moment of youthful pride,
slams the accelerator instead of the brake. Bang! Leaves a crack in the garage wall that apparently stayed there for years. A monument to maybe not thinking things through.
The literal reminder. Okay, so politics was local, personal. But his own path out, he thought, wasn't politics or the family business. It was football.
Yeah, the dream was football. Signed a scholarship to WVU in 1965. He saw it as the only bona fide, father-approved pathway out of the family business, inspired by guys like Sam Huff.
Makes sense. And college, ironically, is where he pulls off a pretty smooth move, almost political in his strategy, to meet his future wife, Gail Connolly.
At a fraternity listening party, right. The meet cute.
It's great. He sees Gail, thinks she's stunning, but she's dancing with some guy he calls a lug.
So he intervenes.
Subtly. Tricks the other guy into thinking his date wants him back, and swoops in to get the last dance with Gail. Credits his older sister Janet for the dance moves, apparently.
Smooth operator. But that high didn't last long, did it?
No. Almost immediately followed by a huge low. 1965 football practice.
He plants his left foot in the mud.
And here's that sound. Pop. Crunch. Just like that, a major knee injury.
And the detail about his mother? That's kind of eerie.
Miles away, hanging laundry, she gets a horrible feeling. At the exact moment 3.30 Euro PM calls the hospital, and he had just gotten injured.
Wow, maternal radar. And sadly, that intuition was right. The dream didn't recover.
He rehabbed hard, came back sophomore year, medically cleared, but with a catch.
So no lateral movements warning.
And the coach's first drill.
Crossovers.
Yeah.
Immediately, knee gives out again. Dream officially over.
So no football career, but love found a way.
Yeah.
Though the proposal sounds practical.
It's very practical. 1967. In the car, back entrance of Green Hills, the club his dad built because Italians weren't allowed in the other one.
And Gail's response is just perfect.
Classic. I can't see the ring. Can we at least open the door?
Sets the tone. Then the wedding, leading to the whole cake eater confusion.
Right. Her family served finger sandwiches, cake. His family expected, well, a full Italian feast.
So Gail's dad, Carl Conley, ends up footing the bill for the extra food for the Manchin side. Kind of awkward, kind of funny.
But that lightheartedness faded really quickly. 1968 was just brutal.
Yeah. First, Gail's father has a stroke.
Then, November 11th, Veterans Day, the Manchin family store burns down. 4 people killed.
Horrific. And then, just 9 days later.
November 20th, the Farmington No. 9 mine explosion. 78 men trapped underground, including his uncle John.
That accumulation of tragedy. The mine, the fire, the family illness, all while they have a newborn. It's almost unimaginable.
It forces you to grow up fast. You have to wonder how witnessing that grief, that community trauma, shaped his later views on government's role in a crisis, long before he was governor.
It must have hit home, the fragility of everything, the need for resilience. But even after getting his degree, needing work, he still hated the family carpet business.
Hated it. But felt bound by what he calls that Italian Catholic guilt. Felt stuck.
Until 1982, the moment that changes everything.
The catalyst moment. He's in the furniture store, a local representative walks in.
And demands a favor, saying the author's father owed him.
And he just snapped. Saw it purely as self-service, not public service.
That contrast was it. He declared right then and there, I am going to run.
But that commitment to core values, to doing the right thing, got seriously tested when he ran for governor in '96.
Right. The tough decision about Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah. His uncle was a legend, but also politically damaged by then. The campaign decided, for broader appeal, to distance itself from him.
A purely political calculation. And he lost the election.
And he reflects later, pretty bluntly, that he deserved to lose. Why? Because he strayed from my core values, chose politics over personal loyalty.
That must have been a powerful lesson. He says he never lost another election after that.
Seems like it really solidified who he was or wanted to be. So when he finally does get elected governor in 2004, he walks right into a massive crisis.
The workers' comp system, a $3.2 billion deficit. He called it the state's Achilles heel.
Crippling the state's economy, basically. So remembering that lesson, maybe unmanageable debt leads to cowardly decisions. He had to act.
But how do you fix something that huge with powerful interests like labor and coal operators involved?
Called a special session right away, January 2005. Smart move with labor, guaranteed no loss of benefits. That neutralized a lot of opposition.
Okay, and the coal operators.
Got them to agree to a temporary 56-cent surtax on every ton of coal. It wasn't popular, but it fixed the deficit, allowed them to privatize the system, shared pain for survival.
Then, just 2 years later, another crisis hits. The Sago mine disaster in 2006.
And having lived through Farmington in '68, he approached this one differently. He vowed the families would hear updates first, directly, constantly, no rumors.
But Sago had that awful miscommunication. The false hope.
Yeah. The report came out that 12 miners were alive. Jubilation in the church where families were waiting. Then he had to be the one at 2 a.m. to deliver the real news. Only one survived.
Gut-wrenching. And the story of the grieving father who tried to attack him.
Right. Filled with rage and grief over the false hope. And the governor just let him vent. Didn't press charges, understood the anger. They later became friends.
That's retail government under the most extreme pressure imaginable.
It really is. So he leaves the governorship, goes to the Senate in 2010, and immediately encounters something totally new to him after 30 years in politics.
What was that?
The term party line vote. He said it was completely foreign.
Washington was a different world. And this next phase, Act 4, seems defined by breaking ranks, and maybe more importantly, admitting when he felt he got it wrong.
Like with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, DADT. He initially voted against the repeal, citing concerns about timing during wartime.
But then he changed his mind.
Yeah, not because of lobbyists, but from hearing personal stories. Decorated soldiers forced out just for who they were. He says he instantly admitted his mistake to a constituent. His point. If you can't change your mind, you can't change anything.
We see something similar with the Affordable Care Act, the ACA.
Right. Opposed it as governor, worried about the government role, but later, seeing the impact on the ground in West Virginia families avoiding bankruptcy because of illness, the personal reality changed his view.
The human impact trumped the ideology. Then Sandy Hook happens in 2012.
A huge catalyst. He felt he had to act on guns, went on national TV, basically said his duty as a father, as a grandfather, was more important than the political risk.
Which led to the Manchin Toomey background check bill.
Which ultimately failed, even with broad public support. A hard lesson in D.C. gridlock, maybe.
Definitely. But the biggest confrontation seems to be the Build Back Better fight in 2021. The $3.5 trillion plan.
Which he thought was really closer to $6 trillion once you looked at the accounting.
And this goes right back to his core fiscal principle, right? From Farmington.
Absolutely. He saw it as reckless spending, potentially destabilizing. He needed to draw a line.
So how does a 1940s West Virginia value translate into a multi-trillion-dollar D.C. battle? What did he do?
He did something pretty unusual. He wrote up a formal signed agreement with Chuck Schumer, setting his absolute top line at $1.5 trillion, put his limits in writing.
To make it crystal clear.
Yeah. But then, he says, the White House misrepresented his position publicly anyway, which made him furious.
Leading to the famous pissed-off Irishman phone call with President Biden.
Apparently, Biden got really angry, threatened to never speak to him again, but he held his ground on the spending figure.
His final big stand, according to the book, was defending the filibuster.
Right, what he called the soul of the Senate. Huge pressure from Democrats to get rid of it.
And he refused.
Yeah. He saw it as the last real tool forcing compromise, forcing bipartisanship. Getting rid of it, in his view, meant just letting the extremes run everything, which is the opposite of his dead center idea.
Which logically leads right to his next move, changing his registration to independent in 2024.
Saying he felt politically homeless, wanted to stand with the sensible majority.
Wow, that really was a comprehensive look.
Yeah.
You can trace the thread from, sweeping the parking lot in Farmington right up to these huge D.C. showdowns. Personal values directly impacting political action.
Yeah, and what stands out consistently is that retail government idea. Treat every single constituent like a customer who deserves service, even if they didn't vote for you. Like his dad helping his own opponent.
It's a philosophy a lot of people probably wish was more common today.
Definitely. So for you, the learner, here's something to think about. Building on that. Remember his father's saying, unmanageable debt will lead you to make cowardly decisions. The U.S. national debt is now over $36 trillion. What impact do you think that fiscal reality, that huge debt, will have on Washington's ability to find compromises in the future?
Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoy the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge. Spread the word.